You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Sabres Zone.
Hi folks, welcome to the Sabres Zone. This is the video on the channel, if you're new here to the channel, that always discusses what you guys had to say. So, I got one for you. And here's the clip. And the shout out goes to Josef Jakobuk. And Josef, I'm guessing I got your last name right. I think that's what I said last. I believe the J's were silent, right? If not, sorry buddy, I'll get it next time. But I remember I did a shout out for you before and I think I got it that time. Okay, he goes, not only this road trip is important from the winning standpoint, but this is where teams are gelling most. Building friendships and camaraderie between players. You can see every scrimmage that happens on ice. 4 or 5 Sabres are in it. They are playing for each other. They got one another's back, the body language, the swagger. You can see how tight this team is becoming. That was quite a mouthful. Yes, Josef, yes, absolutely, eh? That is something I actually didn't. I was meaning to point out. I forget what video, but I meant to say something about how they're uniting, you know, and how they stand up for each other. I like I said, if you caught that video, how I talked about after we lost, I liked how they reacted at the end of the game, where they were willing to like have a bench brawl with Florida. They were willing to have a bench brawl. Like that's how mad they were. So this team not only has each other's back, they hate losing too, which is just, my goodness, you know, we're getting spoiled here, but we're going to take this and enjoy it. For sure, we're going to have fun with this one. The team is gelling, like you said, they are gelling. They're coming together, and not just because the wins either. We could be 2-2-1, and I would say the same thing, that you could just see on the ice how they do have each other's backs. You know, they care about each other, and that is a sign of a champion, usually a pre-champion, you know, where they're at right now. So if the kids can continue just to care more and more and more as they go along about each other, and you heard Darlene say it last year, they're like brothers in that dressing room. So this is really, there's a major change going on in our franchise, you know, a major change. I think the problem was, Josef, in the beginning, that a lot of us were so damn scarred by all the losing and all the broken promises of the last decade that people were doubting that any of this was real, you know, but I think when we had the strong finish, it opened up a lot of eyes. A lot of people started believing, okay, there is something going on here, you know. And we've kind of, you know, and I'm not I believe it's a sign last year of things to come, but we've kind of picked up right where we left off. And now, with these injuries, it's going to be really important that we're more tight-knit than ever. This is not going to be an easy finish to this West trip, having to play without some of our defenders. You know, like once you're missing blue liners, my goodness, the 06 squad. I mean, we can harp about that all night. The 06 squad, when we lost, it seemed like everybody, it felt like at the end, you know, and still we went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final. So anything can happen with a young squad, and this bunch right now seem to really have it for each other, that, you know, they take it upon themselves maybe to win. Let's win this one for Samuelson. You know, let's win this one, guys. Let's win this one for him. You know, he went down tonight, and we got to win this game now. And if anything, I'm sure that motivated them in the second intermission. I'm sure they must have talked about it in the dressing room. They had to have talked about, you know, how for him, they're going to win this game tonight. And it just keeps getting better, this story. It just does, you know, and I'm not going to say I don't want to jinx it, because I don't buy into that. I buy into different kind of jinxes when it comes to, but something like this, you know, I don't want to get too comfortable with it either. I just want to kind of ride it out and see where it brings us. You know, I don't want to see things take a turn back for the worse. I don't think they will, you know, but I want to be very cautious with all of this too. You know, I don't want to run into, oh, that's it, we've got the cup coming. But I do believe the team's for real. After they beat Calgary, to me that kind of was a statement win, because the odds were we were supposed to lose that game, really. And they just weren't going to be denied again. And last game was kind of the same story, except they just didn't throw a barrage at us in the third period. We kind of settled the storm in the third period after we looked flat in the second. Right now, it is like a band of brothers. It really is. You know, like these guys, every time I hear them talk in interviews, or you see them behind the scenes in the embedded episodes, and they're just such, it looks like they're such good friends, even with guys that are on the Amerks. You know, they're still like, they're very united that way, it seems like. They're just friends on and off the ice, you know. Of course, the business is winning. We all know this. The business is winning. But it starts with that, Josef. That's what I believe. It starts with that. That's the foundation. That's what makes a champion eventually, is that they were tight. They were really, really tight friends. And then it became like an obsession to win after that together. And I really believe not only is this team going to win more games than I think people think, but I really believe that they're headed to a Stanley Cup. I really do. I mean, they show all the signs of a team that's headed to a Stanley Cup. If you took away this logo and you put on, maybe, let's throw the Bruins out there, a team that's been successful for decades, and you put the Bruins logo on all those guys that we know are the Buffalo Sabres right now, we would probably all say about that team's headed to a championship eventually, that young squad in Boston. That's what we would be saying. So it's time to get that crap out of our heads that just because they're the Sabres that they're not going to win a championship. That kind of thinking's got to go in the toilet, really. We've got to toss it in the trash and move on from that thinking too. That's a lot of stuff that, as you know, you see online, right? You see all the negative out there. But it's getting smaller. It is getting smaller. You know, I don't see the crap I used to see anymore, but I stay away from those lounges that were toxic anyway now. That were just too much negativity, you know? And I had to, because it wears you down as a fan. It wears you down. And especially if a lounge will allow that kind of negative crap in it, then there's an issue. Then there's an issue to start with. So here we go. We got the next game in Seattle. Should be a fun one. Now, I'm going to go over this in the videos tonight, but I'm very concerned about the blue line. The blue line is going to be, we're going to have to do it by committee next game. It's going to be tough. It's really going to be a tough win to get. But I do want to come out of this 4-0 somehow. I really want to see the Sabres sweep this whole thing. I really do. While we have this chance, you know? Because this isn't something that presents itself every year to us. This is a rare opportunity. We got to jump on this. And like you're saying, if we have this band of brothers, so to say, right, in that dressing room, and they're that tight-knit, they're going to find a way, I believe. They'll find a way. That's just how I feel about this team now. They'll find a way to win. And if they don't find a way to win, they're sure as hell going to make it hell for the Kraken to leave the ice if we lose. I'm willing to bet it's going to be clutch and grab. There's going to be 5 guys at the end wanting to fight again. And I loved it against Florida. I did. As soon as I seen that, I was like, oh, thank you. That spoke volumes for this guy when I seen that at the end. You know, so let's see how we pan out this next game, and I'm sure we'll have more to talk about soon anyway. All right, guys, done for this one. I got more coming your way. See you there.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to ensure Dimension access.